Hi, my name is Paige, and I'm on a mission to get out of debt and become a millionaire. I have lots of dreams and things that I want to accomplish. In order to do that, there are some things you have to keep in mind. Would you join me for a walk? So I want to talk to you. I've been thinking about this a while. I really want to talk about emergencies and preparedness. So these are things that you need to have, you need to be ready for. If you decide that you want to get control of your finances, you need to have some things to think about. Emergencies. They're going to happen, and you need to be ready. You need to be able to cover some expenses that are bound to come up. Like the 40% of Americans cannot pay for a $400 emergency. That's wild to me. But I've been there myself. So being able to pay for those small expenses, those small emergencies, while you are working to get out of debt is imperative. That way it doesn't set you back, it doesn't discourage you, and you're ready because something's bound to come up. And then there's the $1,000 question. Quite literally, it's $1,000 question. Dave Ramsey suggests that anyone starting his baby steps needs to have at least, or not at least, only $1,000 emergency fund. And this will cover most emergencies. I think that it is a good guideline. I have a $1,000 emergency fund set up. I live in Texas. I don't have a house, so I don't have to worry about an emergency with the house because that's an expensive emergency. I don't want to pen anybody in to you have to have that $1,000. Only the $1,000. If you feel like you need a little more, just don't go over top about what you really need. So be very realistic about this. If your expenses are less, then you could probably get away with having a smaller emergency fund even. So that's an option and things that you can think about. But you need to make sure, talk with a professional is what I would really suggest. And maybe a financial coach, and get their opinion on what you need individually. So your emergency fund is not to be spent on things that are expected. So Christmas is coming. It comes every year, December 25th. Don't dip into your emergency fund for Christmas presents. You need to plan ahead for that. Don't dip into your emergency fund for things that you can cash flow. So look at what you are doing. If you can cash flow something, are there places in your cash envelopes that you can maybe pull from in order to take care of that emergency and still survive the rest of the month? Don't necessarily take it from groceries, but if there's some other places that you can comfortably take it, I would suggest cash flowing it before taking it from your emergency fund. And now I want to talk about preparedness. So recently, our world has drastically changed with coronavirus and how that has impacted us. If anybody remembers the run on toilet paper in March of 2020, I mean, it's just a ridiculous joke now. But that was a real fear, that people were afraid we were going to run out of toilet paper, of all things. Run on food anytime that there's a hurricane, or recently there was a winter storm in Texas, knocked out power for millions. Preparedness is a thing. So, as part of also like an emergency fund, you need to have a preparedness storage, because in an emergency, like a disaster where there's no food in the grocery store. It doesn't matter how much is in your emergency fund, it's not going to buy you food that's not there. So, preparedness is a thing. My suggestion is to have at least 2 weeks worth of food for you and your family in the house. Food that you actually eat. Things that you are comfortable making. And it also depends on your area, what type of things are probable, not possible, because anything, all kinds of crazy stuff is possible. You want to look at what's probable in your area. If you live in an area that experiences hurricanes, what kinds of things do you need to be prepared for? If you're in an area that has tornadoes, what kinds of things do you need to be prepared for? Usually the basic things are food. You want to make sure you and your family have food. And you also want to make sure that you have some kind of way to cook your food. That there is some sort of shelter in place for you and your family. So these are real things that you need to be prepared for, because it does not matter how much money you have in an emergency fund if stuff isn't even there for you to buy it. So have it on hand. I don't think that this should be a luxury of the rich. This is not something that wealthy people are privileged to have, and no one else can have these benefits of preparedness. Anybody can have this. I'm not suggesting going out and buying 2 weeks worth of food all in one go. Fit it into your budget. Purchase a little bit at a time. Daniel and I have a camp stove that we have on hand, and we always keep a couple of small propane canisters to cook on our camp stove, just in case the power goes out. Now, that's not going to heat our home. We have access to a generator, so that we kind of count on that during this recent winter storm that Texas went through. So, be smart. Think about these things ahead of time. Don't blame anyone else for your inadequacies because you didn't plan ahead. This stuff is going to happen. It is not anyone's responsibility but your own. Take responsibility. That is one of the things that millionaires do. They take responsibility for their actions, and they make choices after they learn from something stupid they've done. So, if you're not prepared, do not blame someone else. Learn from your mistakes. So I know that's not the rainbows and happy unicorns that I usually like to talk about. But these are real problems. These are real things that I really want you to think about. You need to consider. You need to have an emergency fund, either something to take care of small emergencies while you are working through your basic goals of getting out of debt. And then once you get out of debt, focus on getting a larger emergency fund. So an emergency fund that is going to cover at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. That is going to be enough to really take care of some big issues that might come along. If you lose your job, or let's say you hate your job, and you have a little bit more flexibility. You have more options when you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Now, things like preparedness, that is something that I want to really encourage you to always be building on. You can always be more prepared. Now, I want to also caution you that this can get stupid expensive. I have probably spent way too much money, even when I was in serious debt, trying to be prepared, because I really value being prepared in an emergency. I think it is very satisfying to be self-reliant, and take care of myself and not count on anybody else to come in and save the day. So I want to encourage you to do the same. Having an emergency fund and having some sort of physical preparedness on hand is going to give you that peace of mind. It's going to help you know that you can take care of yourself and your family no matter what the circumstances are. Bring on a pandemic, bring on the winter storms or the hurricanes or the tornadoes, because you got this. That gives you so much more confidence, peace of mind, because you know that you can take care of you and your family. I hope this helps. I could do a whole video on preparedness, and if that's something that you guys are interested in, please, leave a comment below. Let me know, if that's something that you would want me to talk about. I can really kind of break down being prepared on a budget. It is something that you really need to work into your budget and grow gradually. But I can show you, kind of my basic preparedness and what we do here to be ready for a zombie apocalypse. Not really. We're not ready for a zombie apocalypse. But we are ready for a winter storm or pandemic. So, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. That'll really help. And I can give you some content that you find valuable. Have a great day. Thank you for watching this video. I'm on a mission to get out of debt and become a millionaire. I'm going to keep making these videos to keep me focused and you inspired. So go ahead and like and subscribe. You know the drill. And I will see you next time.